All right. Happy Monday. Apologies. I am a few minutes late because I was having some tech issues. But here we are. All right. So welcome. This is my Monday live Q&A. I am Julie with Balance Life with Julie. I'm a regenerative health practitioner and a holistic nutritionist. So I come on live every single Monday to answer questions that I get asked. And I'm going to move these. My fiance got me these flowers the other day and they're in the shot, so we'll just move them a little bit. So for those of you that don't know what regenerative health is basically focused on addressing the root cause of chronic illness, or also known as dis-ease or disease in the body. And unfortunately, a lot of people, it's surprising to me because I'm in this work, I know this work, I've practiced this, I've reversed two chronic health issues in my own body. I've reversed hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. I've been medication free now for 5 years. I very strongly believe in the power of this work, and working with clients and with groups. I've seen 100% of my clients and groups get better as they've applied the principles of regenerative health. And it really is about looking at the body as a whole entity, as a holistic entity, and looking far beyond just one organ or system. So in a medicalized approach, there is a specialist for every single different part of the body, it seems, and none of those specialists talk to each other, unfortunately. And it really kind of breaks the body down into parts, whereas the body is a whole functioning organism. And it's not just our physical body, it's also our mental, our emotional body that matters, and how those things interplay. And if we want to go even beyond that, the spiritual aspect as well, which also really, really matters. I'm sure you've heard that saying, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I've had some wild experiences when it comes to being connected to spirit. Like, I'll share this. Because I don't mind being open about this kind of stuff. But I remember one day walking in our hallway, and I just felt like this complete expansion, like my soul was just like emanating in all directions. I was like, wow, that is so trippy. But probably a little out there for some people who don't believe in that kind of stuff. But when you've had those kinds of experiences, it's very hard to overlook them, or just pretend that they don't happen. All right. So on to the questions for today. So a question that I get all the time is how to reverse hypothyroidism. This is a very, very common illness, especially among women. 1 in 8 women get diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And a lot of women, and I know I was one of those women, we get told that you have to be on medication, that there's nothing that can be done. And so actually, I remember back in the day, before, way back in the 2000s, I had a friend who was diagnosed with thyroid issues after her first pregnancy. And so when I received a diagnosis back in 2014, she said, well, you're going to go on the meds, and then probably your doctor will need to keep increasing the medication over, the rest of your life. And I was like, really? Like, that's what that's what they do with thyroid issues? Like, there's nothing that can be done? And back then I didn't know what I know about nutrition, about mindset, about regeneration, cellular regeneration. I didn't have any of this understanding that I currently have. And so I thought, well, that's it. I guess I just have to take medication. Now, what got me down this rabbit hole of research and got me inspired and motivated to go back to school and to learn everything that I've learned and to continue to study and research and understand is that when I went on the meds, I didn't feel any better. And this is the experience of many, many people. When they go on thyroid medication, they don't feel any better. And the thing to understand about thyroid issues is that the thyroid gets blamed for a lot of things, and it may not necessarily be your thyroid. So before you go on the medication, I would encourage you. So the most common test that doctors do to diagnose thyroid issues is they will do a TSH test. So that's thyroid stimulating hormone. Now, thyroid stimulating hormone gets excreted from your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland is kind of like, she's the boss. She tells all your glands what to do. But if she's not functioning properly, she's going to mess up. Right. So TSH is actually excreted from your pituitary gland, and it tells your thyroid gland, hey, I need you to start making thyroid hormone. So the TSH test on its face is actually an inaccurate way to figure out what's happening with the thyroid. I would strongly encourage you to get a full thyroid panel. So you would do the TSH, you would do T4, T3, reverse T3 as well. Thyroid antibodies would be good to test. So at the very least, having a full thyroid panel. Now, the reason that a lot of doctors use a TSH test is because generally for a full thyroid panel, there's an additional cost. I've always had full thyroid panels done, and I've always had to pay out of pocket, but I like having a full picture of what's happening with my whole system instead of just assuming it's the thyroid. So the other thing to keep in mind, T4 to T3 conversion. So T4 is the inactive form, and it has to be converted to T3. 20% of that conversion happens in your thyroid, 20% happens in your gut, and 60% of that conversion happens in your liver. So your liver, I can tell you this, is the liver is completely overworked and overrun, because every single chemical that enters into your body has to be processed by your liver. So what you're putting on your skin, what you're breathing in, the chemicals you're eating through your food, if you're taking pharmaceuticals, all of that stuff has to be processed by your liver. Makeup for ladies, especially the makeup you're wearing, what you're putting on your skin, your shampoo products, what you're using to clean your house with, what you're using to wash your clothes with, all those chemicals have to be processed by your liver. So don't you think that it's quite possible that it's not just your thyroid? I think so. I think it's probably more likely the liver and the gut than it is the thyroid in a vast majority of cases, especially if you start taking thyroid medication and you don't notice a difference. And that was what happened in my case. Was I started taking 2 different types of thyroid medications every single day, and I didn't feel a difference in how I felt. If anything, I kept feeling worse. And the more I took the medication, the worse I felt. And I was like, well, this isn't working. And after a couple of years, I sort of clued in, and I was like, I need to figure out how to get healthy, like for real, because I don't want to be taking medication if it's not working. And so I went on this hunt to figure out how to actually heal the body. And that is exactly what I ended up doing in the long run. It took me a few years to figure it out. And the work that I do one-on-one with people and in my group program, Elevate, is really a sort of an amalgamation of all that knowledge put into a very simple system that addresses the root causes of reversing chronic disease in the body, whether that's a thyroid issue, whether it's diabetes, weight issues, skin issues. It doesn't matter because what we're really focusing on is how the human body functions and what it needs at the cell level. So I know this is a long-winded answer, but to reverse thyroid issues, you need to, number one, be very clear on what you're looking at. Is it truly the thyroid, or is it the liver and the gut as well? Is it the pituitary? Once you know which glands and what the real issue is, then you can go after it. However, overall, everybody's body always can benefit from better nutrition, better hydration, and then we need to clean up the internal terrain within the body. We need to detoxify the system. And I do find in general, especially with women, probably because most of us wear makeup and we dabble in different kinds of skincare and all of that. Something that, and I've talked about this on other lives, something that most people don't think about is the chemicals that are in their clothing. So if you're one of those women that likes to walk around in yoga pants, a lot of those fabrics that they use to make that clothing is synthetic, and that means that it's chemical and there's microplastics in there, and that stuff does find a way to get into your body through your skin. So I do encourage you to swap out things. So definitely addressing diet, addressing gut health, addressing hydration, addressing detoxification, removing chemicals, heavy metals, parasites, really cleaning up the internal terrain of the body. Because once you do that and then you nourish and you hydrate properly, your body can actually heal itself. And that is what I experienced. So I went on a protocol. It would have been summer of 2019 that simply addressed diet, gut health, parasites, heavy metals. And I did that protocol nonstop, continuously for 6 months. At the end of the 6 months, I was off the thyroid meds. My brain fog was gone. My achy joints were gone. My fatigue was gone. I started to feel like myself for the first time in years and years and years. So I very strongly believe that allowing your body to heal itself is actually super simple if you're actually addressing root causes. And otherwise, it can feel a lot like you're chasing your own tail and you're not getting anywhere. I know I felt like that for 6 years when I was on thyroid medication, when I was doing all the wrong things, because I didn't actually know that I wasn't addressing the root causes. I kept going to all these different practitioners who were telling me, like, I remember at one point, I think I did like, I don't know how many months of IV therapy. Well, vitamin IV therapy doesn't address your gut health. It doesn't address parasites. It doesn't really address the quality of your nutrition either. There's no real true benefit to pumping your body full of vitamins for short periods of time, because if at the base you're not putting proper nutrition into your body, then what are you doing, you know? So, and I tried cryotherapy. Oh my God. Do it if you want to do it because you want to experience it, but don't do it because you think it's going to reverse a serious health issue. In my case, it didn't, but I did waste a lot of money. So that's why I do what I do. I'm a big, firm believer that if you really want to get to the root of chronic health issues, whether it's a thyroid issue or type 2 diabetes or a cancer or any other number of autoimmune conditions, these are all indications that the body is out of balance. It's dealing with a toxic terrain. It doesn't have proper nutrition. It doesn't have proper hydration. And it's probably dealing with a parasitic environment. And so the symptoms are showing up. Basically, your body is waving the white flag and asking for help. Your job, if you decide to do it, is to actually listen and start changing your habits. The longer I do this work, the more firm and adamant I am that health really comes from health promoting habits. You cannot be eating at McDonald's and thinking that you're going to be in the best health of your life. You know, if you are eating at McDonald's and somehow you've been magically blessed with genes that, don't destroy your body, and maybe you don't feel the effects right away. Okay, good for you, lucky you. But in the long run, I do think it's going to create a lot of damage and imbalance within the body. So health comes from health promoting habits. That means addressing diet, addressing gut health, parasites, chemical and heavy metal toxicity, moving your body on a daily basis, optimizing your sleep, wearing cute little wearing biohacks to make sure that you're addressing EMFs. There's a special discount code I have. This is my Aries Tech. I swear by this. So that discount code will be in the comments or in the caption of this post. And if you do have a very serious chronic health condition, or you're wanting to release excess weight, you're wanting to build better habits, check out my group program, Elevate. I've actually made a slight adjustment in that program. We're going to be doing weekly calls. Every single week, you get to meet with me in person live and ask your questions and make sure that you stay on track to your health goals. So there's going to be a lot more accountability. It was that we were just meeting a couple times a month, but I think people really need more accountability. So I'm willing to show up weekly live for you if you're willing to show up for you. So make sure that you check out the group program. If you have any questions, of course, please pop them below the caption or into the comments. Share this video, especially if you know people who are dealing with thyroid issues. Share this with them. And I will see you in next week's live. Bye for now.